Hey everybody, how's it going? So in this video we're going to be talking about Operation Wetback. Operation Wetback was an immigration law enforcement initiative by Joseph Swing, a retired United States Army Lieutenant General and head of the United States Immigration and Naturalization Service, the INS. This program was implemented in June of 1954 by U.S. Attorney General Herbert Brownell. The short-lived operation used military-style tactic to remove Mexican immigrants, some of them American citizens, from the United States. Though millions of Mexicans had legally entered the country through joint immigration programs in the first half of the 20th century, with some being naturalized citizens and some once native, Operation Wetback was designed to send them back to Mexico. Now, Mexico began discouraging immigration to the United States in the early 1900s, beginning with President Diaz. Diaz, like many other Mexican government officials, realized that the laborers leaving for the United States would be needed to industrialize and expand Mexican economy. While Mexico did not have an extensive capital, its largest asset was abundant, cheap labor, the primary resource needed to modernize the country's economy and develop industrial agribusiness. The Bracero Program from 1942 to 1964. During World War II, the Mexican and American governments developed an agreement known as the Bracero Program, which allowed Mexican laborers to work in the United States under short-term contracts in exchange for stricter border policies and the return of illegal Mexican immigrants to Mexico. Instead of providing military support to the U.S. and its military allies, Mexico would provide laborers to the U.S. with the understanding that border security and illegal labor restrictions would be tightened by the United States. The United States agreed based upon a strong need for cheap labor to support its agricultural businesses. Whole Mexico hoped to utilize the laborers returned from the United States to boost its efforts to industrialize, grow its economy, and eliminate labor shortages. This program began on September 27, 1942, when the first Braceros were admitted into the United States under this agreement with Mexico. The Bracero Program would have a consistent implementation or direction during its 22-year duration. The program itself can be classified into three main phases. The first phase was between 1942 and 1946, which saw heavy input from the Mexican government in regards to the operations of the Bracero Program. The second phase was between 1947 and 1954, when the policy shifted from mass legalization of illegal immigrants to mass deportation of said immigrants. The El Paso incident would begin discussion of establishing a labor pool versus dealing with the illegal invasion of these immigrants. Now, the final phase lasted from 1955 to 1964 and thus saw the end of the Bracero Program. The paradoxical nature of wanting to source labor in the form of Mexican immigrants, but distaste for the immigrants by the population would persist in the United States. After this agreement was reached, the Mexican government continued pressuring the United States to strengthen its border security or face the suspension of the legal stream of Mexican laborers into the United States. Now, immigration officials opened the Mexico-Texas border which allowed several thousand undocumented workers to cross the border. Most of the workers from here were escorted by Border Patrol agents straight to the cotton fields, and this event started the informal practice of using undocumented Mexican labor while the blacklist was in place. This incident was problematic due to the direct way the U.S. government was involved in the managing and the movement of these undocumented workers. This incident would become known as the El Paso incident. It was in violation of the agreement with the Mexican government. 2 million Mexican nationals participated in the Bracero Program during its existence, but tensions between the program's state and implicate goals, plus its ultimate ineffectiveness in limiting illegal immigration into the United States, eventually led to Operation Wetback in 1954. Now, we're going to be doing a second video on this because this is a lot of information to cover, so please stay tuned for video 2.